As for Miss Yovanovitch, there were sources who felt you were not loyal to the president, so you were released. Newsflash, the president has that right. And the bozo in the bow tie with the water binky is telling us what America's strategy should be? Are you kidding? Who are you? Or better yet, who do you think you are? Imagine a group of people hate someone so much they agree to destroy him. They've tried before, but the truth won out. They decide to find someone who also despises him to make another complaint and try again. That person agrees and with their help files a complaint. And a new attempt to destroy him begins. They predict that this time he is going down. First, the accusation. It's not clear what it is, and he's not allowed to be present where it is decided what it will be. He's not allowed to have an attorney. He is not allowed to present witnesses. And soon after they publicize their going forward, they still won't say what the charge is. He asks to confront his accusers in the hopes of learning more, but the accuser is hidden away because to out him would give away the fraud that is at the heart of their charge. They say they will prove he did something wrong, that they know he did something wrong. And so they bring in witnesses, ostensibly to prove this. But they actually know nothing. They, like the accuser, heard something from someone who heard something, and none of it by the man charged. In this charade, hearsay is allowed and is considered even better than direct evidence. His lawyers are not allowed to object to leading loaded or prejudicial questions, although they can signal their witness to not answer a question that might illuminate the truth for him. All during this, he presents the best direct, powerful, relevant, material, unassailable evidence of his compliance with the law that refutes every one of their accusations. But they don't care. The truth is irrelevant. They want him destroyed. They even tell him he has to prove his innocence because he is part of a shakedown. And so far, he hasn't proven that he's not. They tell him his proving his innocence is what the inquiry is all about. He's frustrated. He has nowhere to turn. Now imagine it's you that they're after. This week, we witnessed nothing short of the most offensive, shocking, and shameless shows ever displayed in the Congress of the United States. The hatred of President Trump was palpable, and the refusal to recognize time-honored legal principles, precedent, and tradition was simply stupefying. There were no rules other than the rules of a proven liar. The burden of proof has no place in this charade. There has never been a case in the history of this great nation where the accused is supposed to prove his innocence when the prosecution can't even prove his guilt.
If the president has something that is exculpatory, Mr. President, that means you have anything that shows your innocence, then he should make that known, and that's part of the inquiry. And so far, we haven't seen that.
Hell, they can't even figure out what the man did. They are hypocrites who lie to the American people every day. And whatever happened to this one?
If and when the time comes for impeachment, it will have to be something that has such a crescendo in a bipartisan way.
The only bipartisan thing here is the fact that two Democrats sided with the Republicans against this so-called inquiry or inquisition, whatever it is. The rules of evidence, due process, outright fairness have no place in their star chamber.
I think the American public needs to be reminded that countless people have been convicted on hearsay because the courts have routinely allowed and created needed exceptions to hearsay. Hearsay can be much better evidence than direct, as we have learned in painful instances, and it's certainly valid in this instance.
Counselor, are you stupid? Hearsay without more is proof beyond a reasonable doubt? Countless people? You gotta be kidding me. But in Quigley's world, this is the kind of thing that will convict people.
Ambassador Taylor recalls that Mr. Morrison told Ambassador Taylor that I told Mr. Morrison that I conveyed this message to Mr. Yarmak on September 1st, 2019, in connection with Vice President Pence's visit to Warsaw and a meeting with President Zelensky. We got 6 people having 4 conversations in 1 sentence, and you just told me this is where you got your clear understanding.
More telephone, I guess. And as for Miss Yovanovitch, there were sources who felt you were not loyal to the president, so you were released. Newsflash, the president has that right. They're so stupid that every time a crime doesn't fit, they move to another one. Their schizophrenic effort to identify a crime, any crime, is akin to a 5-year-old trying to settle on one toy in a giant toy store. The witnesses they brought out of the Star Chamber, Kent and Taylor, told us something new that I never heard, and that is that the territorial credit of Ukraine is essential to our interests because Ukraine is a strategic partner of the United States. Wait, like, when did that happen? Did these guys work for Obama? They're the same ones. They sat and watched Russia annex Crimea, invade Ukraine. They refused to send aid for lethal weapons to help Ukraine defend itself. And all the while, its missile system is taken down, leaving Ukraine as sitting ducks. And the bozo in the bow tie with the water binky is telling us what America's strategy should be? Coming from the Obama administration? Are you kidding? Who are you? Or better yet, who do you think you are? There's only one person who sets foreign policy, and it ain't you. It's the commander-in-chief for whom you work. And neither of you wackos who are used to being used haven't even figured out why you're there.
So in this impeachment hearing today, where we impeach presidents for treason or bribery or other high crimes, where is the impeachable offense in that call? Are either of you here today to assert there was an impeachable offense in that call? Shout it out. Anyone?
A primer. A president is not required to give funds to a corrupt foreign government. He has the right to make sure that the money is spent wisely. So now they're thinking bribery, except bribery requires a criminal intent. There is none. Getting to the bottom of the meddling in the 2016 election, which apparently started in Ukraine and led to the Russia collusion delusion, is an obligation. We have to make sure that this kind of thing never happens to America again. But the deep state, they're dug in and doing everything they can to make sure that Americans never get the truth. And finally, the president just yesterday submitted the transcript of the first call between the presidents of the United States and Ukraine, where President Trump expressed a commitment to, quote, root out corruption along with the new president of Ukraine. But I imagine that truth won't matter to the mob who simply wants to take him down. And that's my open.